Hi, I'm Peter Kenworthy.
And I'm Carly Latcham, and this is Almost Live, a weekly show designed to give you the who's who and what's what in Telluride and Mountain Village.
On this week's show, we'll be joined by Catherine Warren, who will give us an update on the local music and entertainment scene. And we'll have conversations with Amy Levek about a new community housing trust that she's heading up, and with Steve Gumble about this year's Blues and Brews Festival.
I'm very excited to announce a brand new segment called Jamcast TV, where we show you live shows around Telluride. This week we have Con Brio, live at Club Red, followed by the Wine Geek food freak, who's going to teach us how to make an Italian chicken recipe.
Our friends from Wilkinson Public Library will be bringing us a segment of Device Advice, and Yoga with Barbara will show us the Bakasana pose, or the crow pose. But for now, let's join Carly and Catherine for this week's Warren Commission.
Thanks, Peter. I am here with Catherine Warren and her Warren Commission.
Hello, Carly.
Hello, Catherine. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the music and art world this week?
Yes, it's a lot of fun events, not so much music per se, but a lot of fun to be had. On Friday night, we have a band called the Kolars playing at Reflection Plaza in Mountain Village. It's part of the Music on the Green series. That's every Friday night from 5 to 7 right outside of Hotel Madeline. And the Kolars are half of the band. He's my brother, she's my sister. A fabulous indie rock pop folk fun, just a fun band that's been to Telluride before, and now the Kolars are back with this new project, and that'll be a lot of fun. That's free. Grab a drink from the restaurant at the hotel and enjoy some great music. If you are in Telluride on Friday night, the Donovan Daly Speakeasy Jazz Quartet plays their weekly Friday night gig at the Phoenix Bean at 6:30. They're so much fun, and you can get food and drinks there, and I just love going to shows at the Phoenix Bean because you can...
Yeah, it's so jazzy. You feel like you go back in time a little bit.
Yeah, and you can get booze or coffee. They serve both, which is great depending on your mood. Then on Saturday night, we have the Kodo Street Dance, their second annual fall street dance. And this fall one is on the I always have to think about directions. The east end of Telluride's Main Street between Willow and Alder, so down near the post office.
Oh, cool.
And it starts at 4 p.m., and it features apparently Aspen's premier party band, a band by the name of Just Grew. So knowing the folks at Kodo, it's going to be a great party and
sure
super fun.
Super fun, and wear a costume.
Yes,
absolutely. Everybody dresses up all crazy for the street dance.
Later on Saturday night, we have Kenny Goldman playing his jazz piano at the Phoenix Bean, and that's at 6:30. And then next Monday through Wednesday is sort of, as I was creating, going over the schedule, it's like a showcase of local creative talent. On Monday and Tuesday, Telluride Theater presents their Barrett show. It's a free performance at the Liberty at 8 p.m. each night. It is 21 and over because it is not appropriate for the youngins, and it's a show about bear safety, and it's super irreverent, really fun. Lots of locals that we know, you and I know and love, will probably be in the show with amazing characters.
I'm already laughing.
Yeah, and it's just the bears are out, as we've had Lionel Starr telling us in previous episodes of Telluride TV. And this is a project with the town of Telluride. And so that's Monday and Tuesday. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, the Telluride Dance Collective has their second annual showcase. It's called Mass Movement. It's in the Palm Theater at 7:30 p.m. And it features 27 local dancers and 7 choreographers. And just based off the other work we've seen from Telluride Dance Collective, it's going to be fabulous.
And just spanning so many genres. There's hip-hop, contemporary...
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, it's crazy how talented people are here in Telluride in our tiny pocket of Colorado. So
I'm not going to miss Mass Movement this year.
So go to Barrett on Monday or Tuesday, and then go to Dance Collective Tuesday or Wednesday, and just support the arts, our thriving local art scene. And then on Thursday of next week is the Sunset Concert Series. It's the blues kickoff show. It's from 5 to 7 because the sun is setting earlier than it was this summer. Mm-hmm. And they will be in Sunset Plaza, just outside of Poacher's Pub and the Telluride TV studios. And that is Dragon Deer with The Bones of Junior Jones. So
sounds like a classic blues.
Yeah, sounds like it'll be lots of fun. It's free. It kicks off Blues and Brews, and we'll have more on the festival in next week's episode.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. Where can we read more if we want to know more about what's happening?
Yes, you can pick up the weekly issue of the Watch newspaper that comes out every Thursday. Still haven't decided what I'm going to write about in this week's issue, so see what it is on Thursday.
Sounds good. It was great having you as
Thanks
always.
for having me.
Well, let's go to Patrick Legans, the Wine Geek food freak, for an Italian chicken recipe.
Hi, I'm Patrick Legans, the Wine Geek food freak. Today I want to show you a little dish called pollo alla pulcinella, one of the first dishes I learned in Naples, Italy from Master Chef Antonio Race. Grazie mille. First I'm going to take some butter, put that in a pan. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a nice chicken breast from Clark's Market, one of our local supporters. I'm going to pound out that chicken, hammer time. Then I'm going to let it rest for a minute. I want this to be kind of an elegant dish, so I'm using sliced garlic. Now, I don't do razor blade thin like some people like. I want a little texture to mine, but I will tell you, if you notice, when I chop garlic, they're all the same width. That way you're going to get an even cook on all of them. Put those guys in there. Now I'm going to take some sun-dried tomatoes, put those guys in. And as that starts to get going, now I'm going to add my chicken breast. All right, now you can see that the garlic is starting to blonde. That's when I'm going to add a little crushed red pepper. Put a little spice in that dish. We are talking about Naples, Italy. That's a pretty spicy town. In fact, the name Pulcinella refers to a clown. Every town in all of Italy has its own clown. In Telluride, it's Patrick Legans, the Wine Geek food freak. However, Pulcinella was a cool guy in the 13th century, 14th century time. He donned a mask and would go around and would make fun of the aristocracy and would pass out free pasta to poor children to bring home to their families. Now that we have it at this point, I'm going to add a little white wine and a little tomato sauce. And I'm just going to reduce from here. All right, so I've been flipping this chicken breast for the last 8 minutes. One important thing, it's all this on the side here you definitely want to get off. It's sodium that is allowing that to adhere to the pan, and sodium is salt, and salt tastes good. I'm going to add some heavy whipping cream and a nice pinch of salt, and we're going to reduce from here. All right, so we're a couple minutes away. I'm going to grab the shrimp, start cooking those guys. On the individual bubbles, you'll start to notice a discoloration. When you start to see that, you know the cream sauce is done. Past this, you're gonna break the cream sauce. So you wanna stop now. Real quick, I'm gonna do a little quick chiffonade of some basil here. I'm gonna put half in the sauce. I'm gonna reserve the other half for decoration. And we're done. Take my chicken breast, right there. I'm gonna take some of those sun-dried tomatoes, put those on top. I'm gonna put a couple shrimp, just like that. Then I'm gonna take a slotted spoon, put that on top of there, and then I'm just gonna pour that beautiful pink cream sauce on top of that plate like that. Oh Lord, look at that. Now reserve basil for decoration, and you're eating pollo alla pulcinella. So, until next time, remember all you need is good ingredients, some care, and a minute of your time, and you can eat like me, Patrick Legans, the Wine Geek food freak.
Thank you, Patrick Legans, Wine Geek food freak, for that delicious Italian chicken recipe. We are here in the studio with Steve Gumble. So excited to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we've just been talking a little bit about the Blues and Brews Festival coming up next weekend. Super excited. And I want to know a little bit about you and your background in Telluride before we get into the festival.
Well, I moved here, graduated from the University of New Hampshire in 1987 and moved out here for one ski season, which is, 31 ski seasons? 31 ski seasons ago. But yeah, so I just moved out to take a year off, and kind of instantly fell in love with Telluride, which a lot of people do. And an opportunity arose to purchase a liquor store. So in the early 90s, purchased Telluride Liquors, which was my introduction to the craft beer industry, which was really starting to blossom in the early 90s. And spent a lot of time talking about a beer festival. We would go to the Telluride Wine Festival and decide that we were sick of wine and wanted to drink beer, and we'd go and did it for a couple of years. And so finally in 1994, after just talking about it, actually created the Telluride Brewers Festival. And then in 1997 it became the Blues and Brews Festival as we know it today.
And what led you to the decision to focus on blues music specifically?
Well, you know, in college, one of my college roommates turned me on to Muddy Waters and just fell in love with it. And we already had a bluegrass festival, which was growing in popularity. And so I loved blues and brews. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does sound great. Rolls off the tongue now.
Yeah, right. So you know, that was my passion. I wasn't into bluegrass. I enjoyed bluegrass but my passion musically was blues. So I thought it complemented the already existing bluegrass festival, and we were opposite ends of the season. So saw some opportunity there.
And you guys run a couple other events around the region as well. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we just took over the Telluride Jazz Festival. This is our second year producing that. Paul Machado was the executive director, and Paul retired after the 40th year. And so after several years of negotiations, the board of directors hired SBG Productions, my company, to come in and produce the Jazz Festival. So that's super exciting for us because it's in our backyard, and we know all the good people like you guys that support us and help us, and we really want to, you know, pump some life back into the Jazz Festival. And then our other event, which is wildly popular, is down in Durango, which is the Durango Blues Train, and that's held every June and every August, and that's sells out instantly, tremendously popular and tremendous amount of fun. And it's 6 bands on the train. It moves, goes north towards Silverton, not all the way, and people dance and drink good microbrews and have the time of their life. It's really taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, that's a truly unique experience.
It is. It's really fun. We're looking to add another genre of music to it, and maybe add at least one more weekend because it's just so popular now.
I would love to do it. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, once you do, you're hooked. So many people return. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So this year, you guys are starting something new and exciting, the Music Maker Relief Foundation. And It says it's dedicated to helping the true pioneers and forgotten heroes of Southern music gain recognition and meet their day-to-day needs.
Yeah, I met Tim Duffy, the executive director of Music Maker Relief Foundation in New Orleans at the New Orleans Jazz Festival several years ago, and instantly fell in love with their mission statement. And Tim is just a tremendously compassionate and devoted music person, and spent the entire weekend with Tim going around and checking out all these kind of not so mainstream musicians and learning about Music Maker Relief. And you know, Blues and Brews is successful enough that I really became passionate, and I knew that we could raise money for the Music Maker Relief Foundation. So they've been here. This is about the 3rd year that they've come. We hire some of their musicians that are healthy enough to travel, and so we really give that true blues experience at the blues stage in the park. But this year we've taken it to the next level. Each year we've been building our relationship, but this year we created a fundraising dinner, which sold out instantly. And there's 30 people, 30 lucky individuals that are coming in Thursday night before Blues and Brews, and they will be heading up to Studio in the Clouds, where they will actually sit in the studio with Pee Wee Hayes, who is on our cover. That's Pee Wee Hayes, and and Pee-wee's gonna record a song in the studio, so everyone will walk away with a thumb drive with actually being in the physical studio watching someone record an album. And then Eliza Gavin from 221 is providing a 6-course meal, bar, wine, and a really unique evening. And through that, we're going to be able to raise close to $20,000 for Music Maker Relief Foundation. So super excited. It sounds like a really fun experience. It's our first year, and like I said, it sold out instantly.
Yeah, it's great music, great food, supporting a really great cause.
Yeah, he basically the mission statement for a music maker is to help preserve the aging and the less fortunate musicians of the South, so that their voices aren't silenced by poverty. So for those that need medical help, they get the medical help. I went out there and met the Glorifying Vine sisters, and I instantly bought carpeting for their entire church because they were so excited. They had found a building. The floors were rotting out of it. They had the floors fixed, and I bought all the carpeting. And so that's the kind of things that the Music Maker Relief Foundation does, and they're able to bring musicians out when they're healthy enough to places like Telluride. So we're fortunate as people attending the festival to be able to actually see these musicians that otherwise you may not. And those that can't travel, they get them medical help, they get them hot water in their homes, they get a roof on their house, and it's a whole realm. But it's such a beautiful mission statement that we're really embracing it and really love working with the Music Maker Relief Foundation.
That's really cool. So we got Robert Plant, we got JJ Gray, we got
Ben Harper with Charlie Musselwhite, Government Mule.
Yeah. Is there anybody maybe below? Oh, Samantha Fish. I love her.
Yeah, Samantha is our Anders Osborne, as we always call him, the king of blues and brews, and now Samantha Fish has kind of taken on the role as the queen.
Yeah, she rocks. She's
yeah,
so
people
cool.
just fell in love with her the first year. I don't typically book the same bands back to back, year to year. I like to keep it fresh and different. And but Anders Osborne and Samantha Fish, Anders has played more than any other musician, but Samantha's sort of taking on the female role of the festival, and we've had her for the last 3 years, I think, and Anders a ton. So and Samantha's amazing.
So before we go, any maybe unknown or lesser known bands that you can recommend to the audience?
I think Valerie June is high on my list. She's got one of the most unique bluesy voices. It's just unique. I don't know how else to explain it. But when you hear Valerie June, a song come on, you will instantly recognize her voice once you know her music. So I think she's one of my secret weapons. And Samantha will be here. Marcus King Band, who is tight with Warren Haynes and Government Mule, and Government Mule will be here. So it's a real well-rounded and diverse group of musicians coming this year. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, I'm excited too. Look out for Steve Gumble and say hi to him if you see him in the festival. And next up, we're going to go to a new segment called Jamcast, and we're going to check out Con Brio playing at live at Club Red.
Sweet love, I can't wait for your sweet love to sweet on me. You're my mother nature. You're the very air I breathe, babe. Soon as I get paid, baby, I'll be on my way. Sweet love, I can't wait for your sweet love tonight. You're the one I adore. Why sweet on my babe? And I heard the sweet rays and burn. So can you be mine, sexy cool? Feels so good, so good. I gotta say, whoa, 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 whoa.
Welcome back. So Jamcast TV actually used to be my live music blog. And now we're working with Telluride TV to produce a lot of great live music shows around the area.
Yeah, we're very happy about that. As a public access TV channel, Telluride TV is involved with all kinds of local community businesses and organizations, events, activities, the schools, the governments. If there's something going on in or around Telluride or Mountain Village, we like to be involved.
Telluride TV is a public access channel that depends on public support. We would like to thank some of our sponsors, the towns of Telluride and Mountain Village, the Telluride Foundation, and the Telluride Ski and Golf Company.
And speaking of local organizations, we're delighted to bring you an episode of Device Advice brought to us by the Wilkinson Public Library.
Hi, my name's Gloria.
My name's Hank.
We are from Wilkinson Public Library, and welcome to Device Advice.
So, what are you going to talk about today, Gloria?
I'm going to talk about MyFitnessPal. Are you guys looking to set some goals, count your calories? Well, MyFitnessPal is the app for you. You can keep a food diary as well as track nutritional information. It's got 4.7 stars and is rated by 477,000 people. So, if you want to lose weight, start a new diet, get healthy, this app is awesome.
Are you done yet?
What?
Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys about travel apps. You know, there are a lot of wonderful things about traveling, getting to experience new cultures and meet new people. There are a lot of totally abysmal things about traveling, like renting cars. If you're still renting cars through traditional car rental services, you're an idiot, because there's a better way. And I'm going to show you. It's this great app called Telluride. I can go search over 300 cities around the world, type in the dates that I'm going to be traveling to this city, hit search. Let's just say I'm going to Madrid in July. I'm not going to Madrid in July, but I would like to. So on this hypothetical journey, I can just type in my details and bam, look at that. Opel Corsa, €51 a day. That's somebody's private vehicle that I can rent. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Hey Hank, how much is 51 euros in US dollars?
I have absolutely no idea. But tune in next time and I'll show you guys a cool app for currency conversions.
Thanks for watching Device Advice, brought to you by Wilkinson Public Library.
Do you have a device dilemma? In other words, do you have one of these things and you're not quite sure what to do with it? Come see us at Wilkinson Public Library.
Hello and welcome back. That Device Advice segment is co-produced with Wilkinson Public Library, and Telluride TV is eager and anxious to work with any of you out there on co-producing little series like that. So if you're interested, give us a call, 708-3839. And now I'm here to welcome Amy Levek. Amy, thanks
you,
for
Peter.
joining us
Yes.
today. Always nice to see you.
My pleasure.
And Amy is here today to talk about a new community housing trust, right?
Right. It's the Trust for Community Housing, and it's a nonprofit organization, and we've been established to bring more resources to the question of affordable housing.
Well, the question of affordable housing is a big one, as we know, but some people watching may not really understand why this is such a pressing, urgent issue in this community. Can you give a little bit of background on what's
Sure.
happening in affordable housing, or not happening, or both?
Well, affordable housing is absolutely critical to maintaining community, first of all. You know, if you don't have people living and working here, you don't have a community. And so there's been a lot of housing lost and a lot of people who are without housing. And that affects not only community, but it affects the economic health of the region. It affects everything that goes on here.
And so maybe even taking it one step back farther than that, the reason that it's difficult is because this is such a high-cost environment.
It's a high-cost environment. It's a very desirable environment, and I think, like other places in the country, you know, that are desirable places to be, you know, there's a lot of competition for housing.
So
and
a small, relatively upscale resort in the mountains,
isolated.
Isolated. It's inherent that your cost of living is going to be higher, but your wages aren't necessarily commensurate with that higher cost of living.
They're not, and that's another
Right,
problem.
another problem.
But we're not getting into that problem.
But it seems to me that, especially, I know more about the town of Telluride. I don't know as much about the town of Mountain Village, but it appears to me that both towns are making pretty good concerted efforts to increase the available inventory of affordable housing. Is that true?
That's very true. The town of Telluride, I'm not going to give you precise numbers, but has built several projects or is in the process of building projects that will add to the inventory of housing. Mountain Village has done the same, and I know they've got some projects coming online, and then the town of Telluride and San Miguel County are also going to be cooperating on a new project in the near future.
And so how will this new organization that you're heading up, right? How will this new organization interface with the local governments, and how do you see it benefiting them or aiding them in this quest for additional affordable housing?
On several levels, Peter. Excuse me.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want.
We're doing fundraising to establish some new programs. First of all, we're going to be doing a housing opportunity fund that will help people get into housing through assistance in down payment, assistance in closing costs, and also perhaps some initial first and last month rent. So that'll be coming up. But then we also are working on land banking, purchasing more land for future projects. And, you know, ICS is working very closely with both governments in the region and with businesses.
And have those governments, have they sort of signed off on this? Are they involved in the decision making in terms of approval of this new organization, or is it strictly independent of all of them?
We're strictly independent, but we've been working very closely to make sure that what we're doing or what we're anticipating doing will work and will help them in doing their job.
Okay.
So I look forward to partnerships in the
And
future.
in terms of your funding for this new organization, is that a combination, as it typically is with nonprofits, of donors and grants and fundraising events? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have, we're really fortunate to have had a challenge grant of $100,000 to...
What's a challenge grant?
It means that we will get that $100,000 if we can raise it from other sources.
So it's like
in
a
the meantime.
matching
A
thing.
matching grant.
I got
yeah.
it. Cool.
Yeah,
That's
really
good.
cool. Yeah.
And is that a local or state or federal kind of grant?
It's an anonymous donor.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, it's working. Since we announced last week and have the website up and running, we've been contacted by several individuals and organizations that are interested in helping. So it's very heartening.
So are you up and running now? Are you
Yes.
in position? You've taken on your responsibilities for this new organization?
We're up and running. We still have some work to do on the Housing Opportunity Fund as far as putting together some of the criteria. But we're definitely fundraising for it.
Oh, cool.
And that's why we announced it, because we intend to be there for people.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
And before we go, anything else you want to talk about this new housing trust? You're welcome to. I was going to ask you a little bit about times gone by, because you've occupied so many different roles and positions here in Telluride. But tell us first about anything else you'd like us to know about the Community Housing Trust.
Well, one thing I want to emphasize is that we're a grassroots organization, and we welcome donations of all levels. $5 up to $100,000 and greater, depending on what we're doing. We want to be as inclusive as possible, and we definitely welcome people's ideas on how to go about that. If you go to our website, there's a link to share your stories, share your ideas, let us know what you think about what we should be doing.
Cool.
So we welcome that input.
And the website address is?
trustforcommunityhousing.org.
And also, Amy, can you tell our viewers, how is affordable housing currently funded? Where is the money coming from, whether it's Mountain Village, Telluride, or the county? Generally speaking, where does that money that funds these affordable projects come from?
Generally, it's taxpayer money, and then it's replenished if units are sold. For instance, the town had the Spruce House project, and those units were sold, so that money went back into the housing fund. Mountain Village, I think, has done primarily rental housing, so the money comes from rent as well as taxpayer money. We're looking at being primarily privately funded, which is a big difference. I don't think that there is any outlet for people who are interested in being involved with affordable housing, to do donations or to otherwise be involved. So that's what's different about our organization.
And so if you raise, when you raise, I'll say,
That's right.
a lot of money and contribute it to this cause, do you then have a voice in which projects and how those projects are developed, or do you simply forward that money through to the governments?
We intend to look at all the different options of getting housing built. If it makes sense to partner with government, great, we'll do that. If it makes sense to work with a private developer, there are a lot of developers out there that
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, and then also, I see a role for businesses. Perhaps we can partner with a single or several businesses to make things happen for their employees.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I think we're actually probably out of time, but we will have you back again to talk about Amy Levek and times gone by here in Telluride, because as I said before, you've occupied a lot of different important roles, and we'd love to catch up with all that history someday.
Oh my gosh, sure, okay,
All right,
thanks,
so hold
Peter.
your breath. All right, thank you all. We are now going to join Barbara Glansing for Yoga with Barbara, who's going to teach us how to do a crow pose.
Welcome to our mini yoga series in beautiful Telluride, Colorado. My name is Barbara Glansing, and today we will be moving from a squat position into Bakasana, or crow posture. This is a very fun arm balance that you can really easily play with. This mini series is really designed to give you some easy stretches, some easy poses that you can do throughout the day, especially when you don't have a lot of time. As always, I really emphasize to focus on the breath, so inhaling and exhaling through the nose only. Also, really be mindful where you are today and honor how your body feels today. Okay, let's get cracking. So come to your mat and place your feet wider than your hips. Make sure that you turn your heels out, toes in. Then sit down as much as you can, and just stay here for a couple of breaths. Really feel the heaviness of your seat. Try to ground the heels, releasing the lower back here. Okay, as you can already see, my knee and and shoulder, or top of my arms, are really, really close together. This is what you want to achieve in order to move easier into Bakasana or crow posture. So, once you're ready, again, you're gonna sit down and press your knee towards your armpit. Then you're gonna come onto your tippy toes and place your hands on the mat. Then you gotta trust yourself that your arms are strong as you lift the seat and slowly, slowly, slowly bring one foot up and then the other one. And straighten the arms if you can. Suck the belly and gaze forward and breathe for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, bring the feet down. And if you didn't manage to lift up, just try again. Just trust in the journey. One day it will come. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.
Thanks, Barbara. I loved learning about crow pose. And if you guys want a longer workout, you can tune in on cable channel 12 for Yoga with Barbara full-length episodes. Well, Almost Live is almost over.
But if you missed part of the show, never fear. We run it morning, noon, and night throughout the week here on cable channel 12.
And you can always catch it online on our YouTube channel or Facebook. Just subscribe.
See everyone. See you next week.